Hello, my fabulous firsties. Well, today I'm going to read you a story, and it's called Mice Make Trouble. And it's written by Becky Bloom, and it's published by Scholastic. I hope you enjoy. One day, Henry secretly borrowed his sister's box of colored pencils. She said the pencils were magic, and he wanted to see for himself. Warning, do not draw dangerous or mischievous animals, was printed on the cover of the box. But Henry couldn't read yet. He closed the curtains in his room and began to draw on the bare wall. He drew a tiny car and colored it red. Uh-oh. Do you think that they're magic crayons? What do you think's going to happen? And before he had time to draw anything else, the car popped off the wall and zoomed across the room. Henry would have loved to ride in it, but the car was too tiny for him. Who would be small enough to get in this car, he wondered. Uh-oh. So look what happened. It popped off and drove away. Ooh, is he going to keep drawing? A mouse! That was it. Henry quickly sketched a mouse hole on the wall and drew a mouse above it. But the mouse didn't look quite right. And Henry had to wipe it away and draw another. So there he is. He's trying. Now he's starting over. Which wasn't right either. Neither was the next one or the one after that, and so on, until 6 mice had been wiped away. Henry finally settled for a hedgehog. It was much easier to draw. Uh-oh. So now look, he's got all the mice and a hedgehog. Do you think those are going to pop off the wall and come alive? But as the hedgehog walked off the wall to explore Henry's room, the 6 not quite right mice followed right behind. Each one of them had a very problem that made Henry wipe it away in the first place. But none of it seemed to mind at all. There they are. Now they're all walked off. Huh. One had too big an ear, another too long a tail, another too round a head. There were red noses, crooked whiskers, long legs, fleecy fur. What an extraordinary assortment of mice they were. Ooh, they do look pretty fancy. Henry was delighted to have company, but his playmates were not very civilized. They started fighting and soon spoiled the games. Only the hedgehog knew how to behave. He had found the colored pencils and was drawing a glass of soda. Oh, look at that hedgehog. He must be thirsty. Then he sat on a comfortable pillow and began to read. And that is when the trouble began. Now that the mice had found out about the magic pencils, they started drawing all sorts of toys, all of them entirely inappropriate for indoors. And they jumped and hopped and raced around the room, shrieking and cheering. I can see why it's called Mice Make Trouble. They seem to be making trouble. But look at the hedgehog. Wow, just sitting there reading a book. When there was no more room left to play because of all the toys, they grabbed the colored pencils and started drawing again. Earthworms and butterflies and bees and bugs of all sorts. The mice knew not to draw any dangerous animals, jumped off the wall and crawled and flew around the room. Oh my, what a mess. What a mess they were making. Even the hedgehog contributed. His prickles had torn the pillow to pieces. Finally, Henry had an idea. He grabbed the box of colored pencils away from the mice and as fast as he could, he drew a teacher. Look at that mess. And then look at Henry. Is his teacher a person, you think? Or do you think it's going to be a teacher, a mouse teacher? Let's see. She was a very serious and respectable mouse lady with rimmed glasses and a book in her hand, and she looked just right. Quiet, please, she said firmly as she walked off the wall, and at once the mice were silent and a little embarrassed. Come to me, all of you, she instructed, taking the youngest mouse by the hand. She was about to take all of them into the mouse hole and keep them busy with nursery rhymes and games. Oh, I forgot about the mouse hole. But then she looked around Henry's room and thought it most impolite to leave him with such a mess. Taking the colored pencils, she quickly drew a broom, some soap, pails of warm water, brushes, and mops. Then she had the mice and the hedgehog scrub all the pencil marks from the walls and the floor and the furniture and put Henry's room back in order. Ooh-wee. Looks good, doesn't it? And when all the toys were put away, the teacher drew a small cardboard box to hold all the little animals crawling and flying about the room. She planned to show them to her kindergarten mice. Aww, they would like that. Then the 6 mice apologized to Henry and went quietly into the mouse hole. They dragged along the hedgehog, who was quite reluctant to leave Henry's room. There they go, going into the mouse hole. After the teacher and the animals left, there were no signs of what had happened, except for the tiny mouse hole, which no one had remembered to wipe away. And sometimes, as Henry lies in bed at night, if he listens carefully, he can still hear chuckling and giggling coming out of the wall. And that's the end. Look at the mouse hole still giving off some light too. I like that story. And then here's the back page. So there's some really good words in here, and I just wanted to talk to you about them for a moment. And one of them is assortment. And in the story, an assortment of mice walked right off the wall. And that means that all sorts of different mice walked off the wall. If you have an assortment of something, it means you have a group of things that are different in color or size or in some other way. You might have an assortment of pencils at your desk. So remember, assortment means different kinds. So let's think about some ways that we have an assortment. And I'm going to give you some different little scenarios. And if they are, I want you to say assortment. If they're not an assortment, I want you to be quiet, okay? A collection of different sizes of paper. Assortment. That's right. You have an assortment of paper. A pile of white paper. Ah, good. That's not an assortment. It's just the same. That's just white paper. A jar full of many kinds of cookies. That's an assortment. Yeah. A pile of dirt. Good. Dirt's dirt. There's not an assortment of it. Good. So if your brother collected baseball cards for all different teams, what might you say about his collection? Yeah. You could say, my brother has an assortment of baseball cards. Okay, there's 2 more words I wanted to talk about today. And the other one was contributed. And in the story, even the hedgehog contributed to making a mess in the room. And that means that the hedgehog took part in making a mess. So when you contribute to something, you are part of the reason or cause of why it happens. If you are on a relay team, a relay racing team, you contribute to the team effort. You take part in winning or losing. So let's say the word that means to take part in something. Yeah, contribute. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to give you some scenarios. And if it's about contribute, I want you to say contribute. If not, I want you to be quiet. Okay. A boy helped his sister clean her bedroom. Yeah, contribute. He contributed to help clean the bedroom. Good. Everyone in the class brought a snack to share. Ah, that's right. They contributed. Yeah. If everyone brings it in, they're all contributing to the snacks. You can also say there was an assortment of snacks too. What about a girl joined her friends in singing a song? Yeah, contributed. She came and contributed and they sang the songs together. Good. No one wanted to take care of the class pet. Ah, good. It's just being quiet. Now, if someone did want to help out, that would be contributed, but since no one wanted to help, there's no contribute. If neighbors shared the cost of new park swings, what could you say about what they did? You would say the neighbors contributed money for the new swings. Good. Now there's one more word in here, and it's not used in the story, but they kind of talk about it. It's the word concoct. And Henry created many types of animals to draw on the walls. Another way to say that is that he concocted many types of animals to draw on the walls. It's kind of a fun word to say, concoct. When you concoct something, you make something up. You concoct an excuse for your teacher, which means you invent an excuse to tell her. So let's think about some times when you might concoct something. Making up a new kind of cake. Yeah, that's a concoct. Yeah, you're making up a new type of cake, so you get to concoct this new cake. What about painting a house? Yeah, that's not concoct. Now, if you made a new paint color, that might be concoct then. Writing an interesting story. Yeah, concoct. That means you came together and you thought of a brand new story. You thought of it. You invented it. Good. What about leaving muddy footprints on the floor? No, that's not concoct. Now, you might concoct an excuse on why there's muddy footprints, but that's just having a dirty floor. So if you cook, if a cook created a tasty meal, what might you say about that? Yeah, you could say the cook concocted a tasty meal. Good. Well, those are some fun words that I wanted you to enjoy and see if you can use them this week. As you can tell, I'm still here in the classroom getting some stuff put together, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great week. Bye.